This is Top of Mind, the Dr. Patrick Slowinski Show.
Today on Top of Mind, we're joined by Daniel Helmer, the mayor of Eagle, Alaska. Daniel is a third-generation Alaskan who grew up exploring the wilderness by boat, plane, snowmobile, and dog sled. He's been mayor since 2016, and when he's not leading his community, he works as a heavy equipment operator and logger.
Welcome. Do people in Alaska in your city call you mayor, or do they call you Daniel? What is the vernacular? You guys don't seem very formal at times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty laid back here. I'm just Daniel. I don't even go by Mr. Helmer. If I'm ever referred to outside of the city by other people, it's usually Mayor Dan around Alaska. But yeah, just by my first name usually, very informal.
Well, Mayor, I'm going to call you Mayor out of respect for you in the office, and you won an election, which is something most people dream about and then never make it happen. So what's the population of Eagle, Alaska? And then I want you to tell us a little bit about the city. Used to be a town, but now is upgraded to a city. And then we've got a short clip to kind of give our viewers just a little visual aid of what Eagle, Alaska looks, at least from a car driving up the road.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that first, Producer Victor? Why don't we give that video just a run real quick, and then we'll turn it over to Mayor Daniel. And this particular spot, Mr. Mayor, is one of the highest highway spots in the world, is it?
Well, I don't know about the world. It's definitely it definitely is the highest, one of the higher passes in the state. But
So state,
yeah,
that's right, not the world, but definitely in Alaska, because
yeah,
you've got a lot of countryside there that's not been developed, right? And you
exactly.
don't
Yeah,
have
it's wide
highways.
open wilderness.
So how many people come through to that spot? Oh, quite a few people.
It has dwindled in recent years. We used to have Holland America, the big international tour company, used to do scheduled tours by bus into our town, but that is since they've since stopped that in 2009, and now the only people that make it in are the people that feel brave enough to traverse the distance on their own. It's a 4-hour drive from the next community. And what you see in that video is that's the road. It's a gravel road that winds its way through the wilderness.
And are you born and raised Alaskan?
Yes, yeah, I was born just outside of Fairbanks in the back of an ambulance on a minus 68 below night.
So
And
minus 68 Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yes, yep.
That is something. And you've been there your whole life. You're married, you have children,
Yep.
and you have a day job. Tell us a little bit about your day job and then how you find time to be mayor on top of it.
Yeah, so for my day job, I work for the state transportation department as a heavy equipment operator, maintaining roads, which are all gravel around here. There's no pavement, no asphalt. It's all gravel roads. So I'm operating different types of equipment in the summer, and then in the winter with the snow, I'm obviously driving snow plows and that sort of equipment of that nature. So that's my day job. That's what pays the bills.
And it's not an easy, I guess some people think that you go out in the wilderness, as long as you have a general store down the road, everything's fine. And I spent a lot of time in Iceland. And I
Mm.
remember a friend of mine was working on a book called 10,000 Ways to Die in Iceland. And then somebody else told me, like, there's 15,000 ways to die in Alaska.
Yeah.
And so I wanted you to tell us a little bit about, before I ask you about what got you into politics and got you into being a public servant for your fellow citizens in Eagle, Alaska.
Mhm.
But I want you to give us a little bit about what is it like living in Alaska? And if you're not careful, is it dangerous?
Yeah, yes, it is. It can be very dangerous, very deadly. I mentioned the minus 68 below zero temperature earlier. In those temperatures, if you don't have not wearing proper gear, you'll freeze within minutes. There's no second chances for a lot of this stuff. And even in the summertime, we have dangerous wildlife. bears, grizzly bears, black bears, dangerous terrain. We're very remote, so any medical help, professional medical care is medevac flight would be required to take you to the nearest hospital, which can be, depending on weather, it could be in hours, many hours waiting. It's We definitely live on the edge of nowhere, and it's you feel it when you're here.
Is it prerequisite for all men to have beards there? Is it just easier with the weather and everything just to not shave?
Yeah. In the summer, the beard helps with mosquitoes, and in the winter, it you don't ever have to wear a scarf.
Oh, that's right. I mean, if it's thick enough, right? There's
Yeah.
many of us that are a little beard challenged and we could never pull off
Yeah.
what you have. But this, Mr. Mayor, you've got a town of how many inhabitants, how many citizens there in Eagle?
So it fluctuates. I believe our most recent numbers that we have were just shy of 100 people within the immediate city limits. Now we have residents that live outside the city limits, of course, but those don't count as city residents. So there's about approximately 200 people in the area, and just short of 100 of them are actual voting citizens of the city of Eagle.
Fantastic. And only 100 people would say, well, that's not a big deal. 100 people can't really get into trouble. They probably just live out in cabins. You can't find them anyway. Um, but people, I would think, still need a sense of community, and they depend on you. They depend on the fire chief and the police
Mhm.
to keep them safe and keep things working and running. And I can imagine um, with the weather alone, that people can get themselves into pinches and they need you guys. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. So we try to keep things pretty tight knit. The people that live here, most people that live here are longtime residents. They know they can make it, and we all know each other. Everyone knows each other here on a first name basis, and everyone gets along fairly well. And if you don't get along, if you know you don't get along with somebody or have disagreements, you don't bring it up. It's just, you keep things civil, and so we do have that sense of community. And yeah, there we do have normal city functions. We have a volunteer fire department, and we have a public. We don't have a public water system, but we have a public well house where the communities can go. The community members can go to get their drinking water. And so the city maintains the fire trucks, the fire hall, city hall, the water facility. So we do have several public services that we provide.
So I'm going to back you up there for
Yeah.
someone who lives near DC and is used to having everything, run pretty well and
Hmm.
in Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Hmm.
So people need to go and get their water, and I assume they get big containers and they put them in a truck and
Yep.
bring them to their house, and then they have to store it and take care of it, make sure it doesn't freeze, or if it freezes, know how to handle it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so I'm just thinking to myself, and maybe producer Victor's thinking this too. There's too many snowflakes, no pun intended, that could handle that kind of just having to go get your water.
Yeah.
It's not going
Yeah.
to the grocery store, right? It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Yes, you have the people that have to haul water. So not everybody has to haul water. Some, like me and my wife, our home we have our own private well and pump that we have, but wells are very expensive. It's I haven't priced one lately, but it can cost close to $20,000 to have your own well drilled. So people often opt to use the public well house, and they'll just buy a holding tank, like you mentioned, and fill it, and then just drain off of that to keep their home water up until they have to go fill it up again.
And you talked a little bit about your community, and I imagine you have a center of the city where do you have a small office, or you just do everything from your home as the mayor?
99% of the things I do are from my home. We do have an official city hall, which is literally a 16 by 24 log cabin, one room, dry cabin, no running water. We have electricity and internet, but that's it. It's just a one room
You have
log.
outhouses in the back?
Yep, outhouse out back. Yep. But I
Yeah,
do
no, it's
99% of my stuff of my things here at my home office.
do people show up for city council meetings?
Occasionally, yes. It's we usually have a few handful of people every meeting, every monthly meeting. We tend to have more in the winter when things are slower and there's not a lot of other things going on outside. But yes, yep.
Well, I wanted to have you talk a little bit about what got you interested in running for office. I mean, yeah, it's 100 people, and if you know them and you're a nice guy, you got maybe a good chance. But you don't have to do that. What got you to say, okay, I'm going to spend extra time that I'm not spending on my family and
Mhm.
on my business and spend it on people in my community?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. So my dad served as mayor when I was a kid, when I was young. I think he ended up I think he resigned when I was about 6 or 7 years old. So I remember that. And but at the time I never really considered that thought that I would ever be mayor. But as I got older into my teens, I began thinking that I wanted to put down roots here and I wanted to have an investment in this community. And when I turned 18, I was eligible to run for the city council. And I had looked across Alaska at these various other small communities. Eagle's not the only one. There's dozens of them scattered all over the state very remote like this. And you look at them, and a lot of them had very severe financial issues. They were in the red and constantly needing bailouts and never having enough money for their different things because things happen and it can be very expensive. And I just wanted to ensure that I wanted to have I was going to be invested in the community and I wanted to make sure that I could have a say in how things were managed. So I ran for city council then. Um, in 2011, and that's how I got into city government.
So you didn't just go for the top position, you worked your way up.
No, I started out in the Eagle City Council in 2011 as the Buildings and Lands, the chair of Buildings and Lands Department.
So let's move over a little bit to the political scene in Alaska. We just had President Trump
Hmm.
visiting with Vladimir Putin, which people were initially really upset about.
Yeah,
And then we had I don't know if you saw the episode, but we did talk about the optics of that.
yeah,
Yes, he let him come in on a red carpet, but then he flew a B-2 right on top of him with a
yeah.
fire jet, saying, I'm just gonna let you know what we've got going right next to you. And Sarah
Hmm.
Palin famously said she could see Russia from her house, right? And
Hmm.
everyone mocked that. But the proximity between, I mean,
Yeah,
Alaska, people think that it's its own kind of place off and it's not involved, but geopolitically, it's close to Russia, it's close
yeah,
to other countries, it's close to Canada.
yeah,
And we've got things brewing with all of them lately.
yep.
So you've got a small town that you are trying to take care of. Would you characterize it as a pretty good breakdown of people that vote Democrat or Republican or people not don't even have parties there? How would you characterize your town or your city
I
politically?
would the city I would characterize as bright red when it comes
Oh,
politically. Yeah.
Ruby Red is what they
Ruby
say in the
red,
States.
yes, yes. There are a handful of more liberal people who vote Democrat, but it's very it's I couldn't give you exact numbers, but it's very low. It's not much more than a dozen.
If you were to watch the elections and listen to the commentators, and I'm sure they haven't been to Alaska, or if they had, they just went on a fishing trip,
Mhm.
and they talk about how conservative Alaska is and how it's always going to be conservative.
Mhm.
But is that really the case in the rest of the part of the country, outside of your city and what you've
Mhm.
seen over the years,
Mhm.
and more people coming into Alaska?
Mhm.
What's your take on that?
I have definitely seen more of a shift towards the left with the people that have been coming into Alaska and especially focusing on the big three population centers, Fairbanks, Anchorage, and Juneau. Not in that order, but they have. I've noticed an increasing. Uh, they've been all three of those places have been slowly turning more blue. Alaska's red heartbeat is it tends to be the Palmer Wasilla area, just north of Anchorage, where Sarah Palin was from. That that's where the largest amount of more red conservative voters congregate. The entire state of Alaska only has 70,000 registered Democrats in it. These are the numbers from
And
their
what's the total population?
the total population of Alaska is 700, just over 700,000, maybe
So about
710.
10% Democrat.
Yeah, yeah, and that number has dropped significantly. About five, six. A number of years ago, they had 75,000, so it's been declining. But what Alaska also has is a very large number of undeclared and independent voters. And that part that sort of goes along with Alaskans' independent streak, wanting to none of your business who I'm voting for. So they check the independent box, and just to keep people guessing.
Yeah,
But
we
I've it seems like the last several election cycles, the Republican has been winning. When the Republican wins, it's with a smaller and smaller margin.
interesting. And people talk about that and that it's just a given that Alaska will kind of stay conservative. Who knows? I mean,
Mhm.
I hope that at least people match their politics with their values and they just don't throw
Yeah,
values out the window, right? And
yeah,
traditional values is my preference, but
yeah.
people in this wonderful country that we live in, whether you're in Alaska or you're down here near in the belly of the beast, um, we all hope that everyone gets to experience a life of happiness and liberty and freedom.
Yes,
And in some states, I think they do a better job.
yeah,
And I think Alaska has always been one of those where it's still the last frontier. There's still a lot to develop. There's still a lot of opportunities, 15,000 ways to die. And so you have to be hardy, you have to be resilient, you have to be smart, I think, to live in that kind of environment and also patient and strong.
yes, yes.
And so I wanted to ask you, there a while back, I was watching a documentary about Alaskan men, right?
Mhm.
That they were the last of the real masculine men, right? They're out there chopping wood, killing bears, eating the bear jerky,
Yep.
and doing all those things. I actually had a bear steak in Elko, Nevada.
Oh, it's
You
very
know,
good, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a little chewy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was interesting. But I guess what I want to ask you about is what are the stereotypes of Alaskans these days? Is it still the manly men out there, conservative and traditional wives, or is it just depends on where you are?
It really depends on where you are. A lot of the portrayals of Alaska in the media and that sort of thing, they all stem from Anchorage. They're all based on Anchorage. A couple of years ago, there was a reality TV show. It wasn't very successful. It only ran for one season, and it was based out of Anchorage, and it sort of portrayed the rest of Alaska through the lens of Anchorage, which Anchorage is in Alaska, but Anchorage to us Alaskans that live in the interior is just a slightly colder version of Seattle.
Wow. So really, really different in terms of what there's no unified kind of sense of values. It's whatever you decide kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's sort of how I would characterize it. Anchorage is it's well, as I said earlier, it's drifted leftward in the recent times. They have had a string of very left-wing mayors and city councils, and they have you can find the gay pride parades there, just like they have in Seattle and that sort of thing. So and that's usually when people see Alaska in the media, it's usually through the lens of Anchorage.
So, great point. And I have to, in full disclosure, my dad was really great when we were growing up of loading us into an old station wagon and taking
Mhm.
us across the country. And the only state in the Union, and I'm not counting territories, but state
Mhm.
that I have not visited is Alaska.
Oh,
So
you'll fix
it
that.
is on my bucket list. I went to Hawaii a few years back finally, but I definitely want to go. And
Yeah.
I flirted with it when I was up in Vancouver a few times. It's
Yep.
not that far. I can make it. And
Yeah.
I never made it out there. And I want to just thank you for your service out there. And I want to talk a little bit, since you are a mayor,
Mhm.
a little bit about things that people who don't understand Alaska. um, might have. One of the questions that I hear from people who talk about Alaska in terms of politics, you've got one senator in particular whose father was in Alaskan politics. And I
Mhm.
want you to talk a little bit about this idea of rhinos in
Mhm.
Alaska and what that means for our listeners.
Yeah.
So rhino is without the H, but it's Republican in name only. So it's
Mhm.
the silent H there, just as it
Yep.
is and everything. And definitely Senator Murkowski has that reputation
Yeah.
of being someone who will vote against her own party a lot.
Yeah.
She's not the only one. I mean, her buddy over there, Senator Collins from Maine,
Colin. Yep.
and but with Senator Collins from Maine, I can almost understand because her constituents are a lot more liberal than
Yeah.
what I assumed anyway in
Yeah.
Alaska until talking to you a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but tell us a little bit about one of the rumors are out there about how she's been able to stick around when so many people
Mhm.
don't like her. Some do, some love her.
Yeah.
People that are more moderate or liberal really like Senator Murkowski. She's a
Mhm.
lovely person.
Yeah.
I've met her, and
Mhm.
but what about this rank choice voting? And what did she have to do with it?
Yeah. So ranked choice voting was that was a bomb on the Alaska's political on Alaska's election system. It's been implement. It was implemented in. It was just barely approved by ballot measure in 2021 through a big push from Senator Murkowski. She, at the time, she in the layup for this, she was feeling heat from both sides of the aisle. The Republicans were upset with her for not standing by President Trump. And the Democrats were also furious at her. And I remember this quite clearly when she voted to approve Amy Coney Barrett to
Hmm.
the Supreme Court. She was the deciding vote after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing. And at that time, when that happened, the Republicans said, never again for Murkowski. And the Democrats said, never again for Murkowski. Everybody, both sides were furious at her. I believe that she saw that she was in trouble politically and needed a way to be able to hold on to her seat. And so we had the next election cycle. We had a ballot measure that we voted on that approved changing Alaska to ranked choice voting. And ranked choice voting is interesting. It's not one person, one vote. It's one person, and you get to vote multiple times for multiple candidates going down the line.
So it's one office, right? But
It's
whatever
one office,
in all the
right?
candidates that are there,
All
so
the,
do you
yeah,
mix parties together?
yep, yep.
Okay.
And
So
what
it's
this ended up doing, the effect that it had on Alaska is how it works is if you have a lot of candidates, their votes get diluted. You first of all, you have no closed primaries, zero party primaries. So the Republicans don't get together and vote for one Republican to go against one Democrat. It's a whole field. And in Alaska, we have a lot of very good conservative Republicans that wanted that seat. And they
Kelly
all
Chewbacca, right? Kelly
should,
Chewbacca.
yep, yep. Yep, she was on there, but there was a couple other ones. There were a couple other ones on there too who didn't step down. So then we had Kelly Chewbacca. Her vote was diluted by the other. I can't remember how many there were now. A few others, and Murkowski got the most. Oh, it's very hard to explain, but she
In
got
order, right? She got the highest,
yes,
most of votes
yes,
for the orders that matter. So one and two probably.
yeah, yeah. And I've
She got
seen
more twos than
exactly. Yeah, she was everyone's second choice more than Kelly was everyone's first or second. Yeah. Anyway,
first choice. No, I think Chewbacca had the first choice more, but
she
she actually
did.
ended
Yeah.
up losing,
And then the second,
which just blows people's mind
it
that
it
this is the
does.
United States and this happened, right? I
Yeah.
wonder what our liberal friends would think about that if they were involved. But like, how that is not democracy. They would
Yeah.
totally freak out. Like, how is
Yeah.
that possible? Well, it
Hmm.
happens. And so that's always left a bad taste in people's mouth, that how she's been able to use that, stay around, and then to
Yeah.
continue to be a pain. Look,
Mhm.
what most people, if you talk to them, think, and of course we have not been senators like Senator Murkowski, and
Yeah.
kudos to her for her service and all
Mhm.
she does for the country, because I believe she's a good person. She's done a lot of good things,
Mhm.
but staying in this long,
Yeah.
and I think it left a bad taste in people's mouth, that it was almost like a gerrymandering with a ballot,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
people don't like that because
No.
it seems fishy.
Yeah.
But she stuck around, and then she's able to, um, you know, take jabs at President Trump because she's
Mhm.
still around. She can
Yep.
like not vote for his nominees, and sometimes that could be the difference in whether he got his cabinet member or not. Luckily, it all worked
Yes.
out this time around, even with
Yeah.
her no votes, several no votes, and along with Senator Collins, there were still enough other
Mhm.
votes to, and sometimes the vice president, to see it through. But I think that's
Mhm.
an interesting aspect, is this ranked choice voting, and they do
Mhm.
it in Europe, they do it in other places.
Yeah.
It always makes me nervous lately when something is done in Europe and then it happens here,
Yes. Yes.
because it tastes like socialism, right? So
Yep.
I always like, wait a minute, if that came
Yep.
from Europe, I'm not so sure we should be excited to do it yet.
Yeah.
Um, but you've been mayor for how long now? Tell us a little bit about your duties, responsibilities, and maybe a an experience, without naming names, of something you've done that you're proud of as mayor.
Yeah, so I was first elected as mayor in 2016. So the city of Eagle is what is called a parliamentary system, meaning the city, the voters do not vote directly for the mayor. The mayor is selected annually out of the seven council members. The seven council members select one of each other to be the mayor. And so uh, this coming October uh, I will be up for re-election again, as I am every year, and the seven council members will cast a secret ballot, and I'll either get it or someone else will get it.
How many terms can you have as mayor?
Unlimited.
Oh,
The city ordinances have zero term limits.
right.
So,
So you said parliamentarian, and I was thinking that sounds like Europe.
yeah, this is the way it was set up back in 1901 when the original gold miners sat around the picnic table outside to make a city.
Wow. And tell us about what you do on a normal, let's say, week or month of mayoral duties.
Yeah, a lot of it is pretty boring stuff, signing reports, looking over different budget things and approving certain costs or declining certain costs. Uh, Fielding questions. I get questions from the community over various things for for a variety of things. It can be anything really. My phone number is on speed dial for a lot of people, so.
Do they call you at all hours?
I've never been woken up from a dead sleep, but I've been called early in the morning and right before bed at night before. And in the winter time, when it's very cold out, if we have a heater furnace go out in one of our buildings, that's an emergency situation. So we have to get that taken care of very quickly, or else things freeze and bad things happen. So there's always those things to deal with, but 99% of what I deal with is just rote thing, just daily, just the daily grind, the non-glamorous things. We've I guess I would say so I was mayor during COVID, and uh, I one of the things that I guess I would say I was most proud of, we had a lot of pressure to completely lock the city down, pass very restrictive mandates, keeping people at home, closing churches, closing businesses, curfews, all of that, mask mandates, all of the above. And there was a very small but vocal pressure for that, and um, we, meaning me and the council, we stood stood firm through that and let people make their own decisions and I guess protected freedom, protected people's individual liberty through that.
So I would guess that the benefits you get from doing this job they're not making you wealthy. They're not opening up a whole bunch of doors for you to go become a millionaire somewhere.
Yeah.
Why do you do it? Why do you year after year put your name back in the hat? The councilmen and women are voting for you or not.
Mhm.
But why do you keep doing it? I mean, obviously you could spend that time on your family and other
Yeah.
things in your business.
Yeah.
You certainly don't make enough money as mayor. I assume you get a little bit of money, but for things and maybe reimbursements.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to keep your day job. So why do you keep doing it?
I mostly just want to keep, I just want to, I feel invested to this town, this city. It's a beautiful little city. I want to see it stay that way. And I feel a sense of duty, I suppose you could say, to keep the little jewel that we have.
Now, do you have kids? I couldn't remember from.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. One son, he's
And
he's a toddler right now, not quite two.
I mean, do you ever think sometimes that maybe he would follow in his grandfather's footsteps and his father's footsteps and be the mayor of Eagle, Alaska one day?
Yeah, that thought has crossed my mind. I would be thrilled if he did that. I certainly wouldn't pressure him into it one way or the other, but I would be thrilled if he would do that. If he would like to stay here and we've made my parents made a very big investment in this community, as did my grandparents, and then I did, of course, and now passing that on to the fourth generation would be a wonderful thing.
Well, I wanted to finish off with I wanted you to be the star tonight and to highlight and spotlight, if you will, your
Hmm.
service to a community. And people might watch this and say, it's only 100 people. But for
Hmm.
those 100 people, it matters. It matters
Yeah.
that you're there, that the rest of the city council is there, that the fire chief, the teachers, the
Mm.
pastors, that everybody's there helping each other. Do you have a little city diner? Do you have a place where people can go eat, or do you have to go further out?
Yeah, yeah, we do. It's only open in the summer,
So what do you
seasonal.
guys do? You make your own food and oh, I was going to ask you about that. Do you hunt?
Yeah. Yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
So
You can probably see some of
what
the
is the freezer full of? What is the caribou?
caribou antlers behind me there.
And
Yeah.
is the freezer full of it?
Yes, yep, both moose and caribou. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you a little bit about President Trump's last visit. We
Mhm.
talked about it a little bit to Alaska. Did that
Mhm.
shock a lot of Alaskans, including you, that because it was all of a sudden, boom, Putin and Trump are going to be in Alaska. Why do you think
Mhm.
President Trump picked Alaska? And do you think, I know he has a special place in his heart for Alaska,
Mhm.
but why do you think, what's the reaction been in Alaska about his visit? Because I'm sure not all of it was great.
Yeah, I I don't think I think people were maybe mildly surprised. I don't think anybody was just flat out shocked by it. Alaska is a very strategic location. And
But which US president has been there in a while? Not many.
yeah, so I don't know if anyone would remember, but early on in President Biden's first term, or his only term, he actually met with Xi Jinping, or maybe it was a Chinese delegation in Alaska, and at the
And
same.
nobody remembers that.
Yeah, nobody remembers it. It did not. I think I only
Didn't
remember it
have
because
red carpets, didn't have a B-2
it
flying
was
over.
it was a big deal up here. It was they met in the same place that Trump met with Putin, same Air Force base. And then, but Alaska is a very strategic location militarily. We hear we all the time, it seems like almost weekly, we hear about jets being scrambled to intercept Russian planes up here. I don't know if that gets reported so much down in the lower 48, but up here it's almost a weekly thing, and it's whenever we hear it, it's like, why are you telling us again? It happens all the time. It's we're only a short skip and a hop from to Korea, Japan, China.
Yeah, and
Uh,
you got to shoot down those weather balloons for us.
exactly.
Don't let them go to Montana again.
That's right. First
Um,
line of defense. So a lot of Alaskans were pleasantly, like mildly surprised, but definitely pleasantly surprised by it. I think overall the reaction, and I've even spoken with people on the more liberal side of the spectrum who were they were holding both the position that Trump shouldn't meet with Putin, but also that if he was to meet with Putin, it should be in Alaska. So
yeah, well, listen, I'm of the mindset, and I've been a diplomat. I was a diplomat for over 20 years in different places. Some had war going on, and some didn't.
Mhm.
And I can tell you that President Trump, his heart's in the right place when his number one goal is peace.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
easier said than done? Definitely. Peace
Yeah.
is a complicated process, often takes, years, decades, half a century or more.
Mm.
And, if you look in our history, there's still groups of people fighting for centuries still.
Yes.
And even if they're not fighting physically, in a real physical war, they're
Mm.
still fighting passive aggressively in other areas. And so there is that conflict. I was very proud of President Trump for making an effort. I have no idea where it's going to go.
Yes.
I know that many people on all three sides, and I include the Europeans in there with us,
Hmm.
um, to try to find peace.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
devastating what's happening, and
Hmm.
there's many of us and people I know that are dear to me who have lost
Mm.
relatives even recently in
Yeah.
Ukraine fighting and by
Yeah.
drones and sniper
Hmm.
fire. And so I just want to let you know that a lot of us were very happy that at least President Trump is making the effort. And it
Yeah.
really makes me, you know, confused, I guess, and disappointed
Hmm.
when people have to criticize the fact that he's trying.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
He should definitely not be criticized for trying. You have to try. The previous administration did nothing. Um, I
yeah, I think one of his most favorite lines is, "We'll see what happens."
yes.
He puts
Yes.
the effort in. He goes, "We'll see what happens. We'll put the effort
Hmm.
in," and definitely has a plan. And not all plans work out, but I really am praying as a Christian that, and just a
Yes.
person of faith, that
Hmm.
peace comes to that part of the world, and not just there, everywhere.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be great if people could just get along like your little community? I'm sure you guys have fights now and then.
Hmm.
You got
Yeah.
Hatfields and McCoys versions. I don't know if producer Victor knows that, but that's a whole historical thing. There were two families in the West called the Hatfields and McCoys, and they fought to the death in these feuds. I hope you don't have that in Alaska. I hope that you guys are able to work out your issues and be there for each other. Listen, Mr. Mayor, it's been a wonderful wonderful show having you on and getting to talk to you and see what a good person you are. And I would be honored if you were
Thank you.
my mayor. Um, um, I
Thank
don't know the mayor in my city, and maybe that's on me too. But I do hope that the people in your community continue to rally around you, and you continue to be there for them.
thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the program, and hopefully I'll make it to Alaska. It's on my bucket list.
Okay, come see me.
You got some caribou steaks for me?
I'll make you a caribou steak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
In a world full of noise, clarity is power. Stay informed, stay aware, stay top of mind.